Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Rob's Rig. So let's talk about the negatives of the Jeep Wrangler. You know, no vehicle is perfect, right? And I do love this Jeep Wrangler. But there are maybe 6, 7 things about it that I don't love so much, right? So let's jump right in. Number 1, fuel economy. And this is the one that everybody complains about when you talk about it, but yet they keep on talking about it. This Jeep that I'm in right now, and I'll give you a real number, I don't think it's changed much from the past, 14.2 miles per gallon. It's horrible, and that's well below what it's rated at, right? Now, let's be honest, it is new, so I do look for some improvement when it comes to fuel economy, but 14.2 miles per gallon? I mean, what's it realistically going to get in the end? 16 and a half? I mean, still not good and still below what it's rated at, right? So why is that? Well, I primarily blame it on the bigger mud terrain tires, the heavier tires that are on it, as well as, I guess, my driving style. And I'm not meaning I accelerate or race everybody off the line. I'm more referring to the conditions I drive in. And that is primarily city-type driving, right? I mean, fairly slow traffic. I'm not out on the freeways helping to pad that fuel economy at all. So generally, I think the average for me, speed-wise, probably around 35 miles an hour or something like that. And of course, you're not going to get great fuel economy when you're running 35 miles an hour most of the time. Nonetheless, it could be better. Number 2, ride quality. Now, I kind of compare this to the Jeep Gladiators that I had. They were pretty good. They were pretty smooth, probably because, I think, of the longer wheelbase maybe, or maybe it was the tire setup, I'm not sure. Again, this thing has mud terrains on it. They're rough on the pavement. I really don't think that Jeep should put them on as a default, I don't think, on this model. I think you should have the choice, really, if anything. And you really do, because you can switch them out. It's not like it's something you can't change, right? And I had a comment on the channel recently that, well, you shouldn't have bought a Willys if you didn't want mud terrains. Really? I wanted everything else about the Willys, except, I discovered later, these mud terrain tires. So kind of a crazy thing to say. I can change them out. But nonetheless, straight off the lot to my garage, the ride quality is a bit rough. And it's rougher in a Jeep anyway. I mean, let's be honest. If you compare it to maybe a Toyota Tacoma, or, which I have, that's why I'm using that, or a Jeep Gladiator, it is going to be rougher in the 4-door Wrangler. Number 3, this damn auxiliary battery. Man, do I hope they do away with that system. I've experienced it in the past. I know others who have experienced it. My niece just had it happen recently, the failure that is, in a 2-door Jeep Wrangler. Not good. And I think it's because of government mandates, which are going away. I have heard anyway. We shall see. Hopefully Jeep gets rid of that auxiliary battery system. It just doesn't work. It shouldn't be in the Jeep or any vehicle, in my opinion. And if you're not familiar with it, you have the main battery sitting under the hood, right? And then underneath the fuse panel, you have what I always compare to a motorcycle or lawn tractor battery that's kind of buried under there. And to change it out, you either have to pull the top of the fuse panel, which who the hell wants to do that? Or you kind of dig for it in the fender well up from underneath, undo a couple of bolts, drop it down. It's just a pain. It should be, if we have to have it, under the hood somewhere, maybe under the back seat, I don't know, but somewhere that the owner can easily access and replace. Just a horrible system. Number 4, start-stop or auto-stop. One of the dumbest systems, I think, that any car manufacturer as an industry has ever used. It's a horrible system. You pull up to a light somewhere, you stop, and if you have the pedal depressed far enough, the damn thing shuts off. And then it restarts as soon as you let your foot off the pedal, and repeats until you finally go. in stop and start traffic, like in rush hour or maybe even on a freeway if it's busy enough, you're going to have this thing constantly kicking in. Now, I find it annoying, just the action of it, right? But secondly, how much extra wear is that putting on your starter and on your engine? I mean, constantly stopping and starting it, it can't be good. It's got to go. This is another one of those things that I believe was a government mandate for emissions. A lot of people out there think that the purpose of it is fuel economy. Well, 14.2 miles per gallon, I'd say that's definitely not true. A system that has to go. And one note about that, there are auto stop eliminators. I know, I've had them before. I had one in the Jeep Gladiator that you can install to overwrite it, if you will, or overwrite it. I may end up doing that on this Jeep. I honestly don't think it bothers my wife too much, and she drives this a lot too, but drives me nuts. Number 5, the cost. Why are Jeeps so expensive? I don't understand. This Jeep, sticker-wise, not what I paid for it, but from a sticker standpoint, it was upwards of, I think it was around $55,000, something like that. $55,000 for a Jeep? And I know it's kind of dependent upon trim level as well, right? I mean, you can get a Jeep cheaper than $55,000. But even the lower or more entry-level Jeeps are expensive as well. Why? I don't understand. And it's amazing to me that Jeep or Stellantis or whoever the hell owns them now can still get that kind of money for them. I mean, what a market they have, right? Great for them, not so great for us. Number 6, the insurance cost. It's more expensive to insure a Jeep. Now, I understand why. It's probably because a lot of people, not everybody, and really not even a majority, take them off-road. So there's more chance that there's going to be some sort of an accident, there's going to be a claim against the company, and bigger risk, I guess. So obviously, if there's more risk, they're going to charge more money to insure them. I get it. But it still sucks. Who wants to pay more money, right? Particularly if you're using it as a daily driver, you want to have the cheapest thing you can get, but still drive what you want, of course. Lastly, number 7, unknown reliability. You know, no matter what, due to history, I think, or maybe reality, I'm not sure, Jeep has a horrible reliability reputation. Most people you ask about Jeeps will tell you that they're not reliable, you're gonna have problems, and of course it really depends on how long you keep them, I think. You know, a Jeep, at least in what I see out there in comments and things, you know, up until about somewhere between 30 and 50, 60, 70,000 miles, something like that, is going to be pretty good, like every other vehicle out there. But once you start to really put a lot of miles on them, get a lot of use, they age a bit, that's when you're going to start having issues, crazy little things, and sometimes major things. So it is something to, I think, at least be cognizant of if you're jumping into a Jeep, particularly for the first time. Anyway, those are just a few negative things. Again, nothing's perfect, and don't get me wrong, I still love the Jeep. I keep buying them, right? But things to be aware of, I guess, if maybe you just got one or you're thinking about getting one, there's a few things to contend with. Leave a comment, let me know if you agree. I'd be curious to know. Also, smash that subscribe button, wherever it is, if you would, and we'll see you next time on the web. Bye.